Hello everybody, it's Dave from Talking Wolves. We're back today, bringing back the opposition preview. We've not done one of these for a while, but they always seem to go down well. And of course, with Wolves visiting Shrewsbury Town this weekend in the FA Cup, I thought it'd be nice to get the perspective of a Shrewsbury fan. Today I'm joined alongside Ollie from Salopcast. Ollie, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks mate. Thanks for having me.
No, our pleasure. Obviously, if you're a Shrewsbury Town fan, you're listening to this, maybe you've not heard of Salopcast before. Ollie, just explain to everyone listening basically what you do and who are Salopcast.
Yep, so we're a Shrewsbury Town podcast. We're in our third season now. We're going for a few seasons, and yeah, it's good. It's Glyn and I, who do the Blue and Amber fanzine, and we record every Sunday.
Perfect. Nice one. So yeah, I'll make sure to leave links down to that in the description. So if anyone is interested in checking any of the stuff that the guys do, obviously they can check that one out. So Ollie, today, of course, we're going to be talking about Shrewsbury Town versus Wolves. First time these two have played since back in the League One days when Wolves were in League One. I think it was the 13-14 season. And of course, this season there's been plenty of news that's sort of related to both clubs with the signings and, of course, the current manager there at the moment, which we'll be talking about. So, I mean, let's start off with the new signing. Mr. Dave Edwards has recently rejoined Shrewsbury. He was at Wolves for a long period of time. Obviously, as a fan, what was your reaction to this news with Dave coming back to the club?
Everyone was pretty ecstatic, as you'd expect. Yeah. It's a really nice story. Obviously, Dave came through our youth system and was a really, really good player. He kind of left on a bit of a sour note because the manager, quite foolishly, I think, didn't play him in a playoff final because he decided to leave. Which is a bit of a shame. Apparently he was in floods of tears on the way to Wembley, which is pretty sad. But yeah, it's good to have him back. It's nice, obviously our season's not going so well, but to have Dave to come back and someone who is a championship quality player, and he told us that other championship clubs were offering contracts. So to get a championship level player coming back from coming to Shrewsbury was great. And yeah, he seems pretty chuffed. I think it's 15 minutes from his home, so it's a good one for him. And hopefully he can put some performances on the pitch.
Perfect. Has he played any minutes so far for Shrewsbury?
He came on and did his groin.
I read that earlier on, yeah.
Yeah, he did his groin and he came on against Charlton when they thrashed us 3-0. And he came on. He nearly scored, but he did a slight groin, so he's a bit of a risk for whether he'll play on Saturday or not.
Well, I'm hoping he could play. It'd be a great occasion if he could. And as you say, I think there's a big signing for you guys down towards the lower end of League One. And he definitely has the quality of a championship player still. I think his time came at the start of last season. I think it was just time for Wolves and him were sort of going in different directions. Yeah. So I think it was a good move for him. And obviously now a great move for Shrewsbury, rejoining with former Wolves captain Mr. Sam Ricketts as well. Had a little bit of a coaching stint at Wolves, went to Wrexham as a manager, and now quickly moving up the leagues at Shrewsbury Town. How's Sam started off as boss of Shrewsbury?
I'd say I'd probably cut it into on the pitch and off the pitch.
Okay, yeah.
So off the pitch, our last manager, his first interview sent shockwaves through the fan base. Right. It was pretty horrific.
Yeah.
Didn't really fill you any confidence as a manager, and obviously that's his way he communicates. So Sam has come in, and he's a leader through his professional days. Obviously played all levels, played for Wales. So he's come in, and off the pitch he's been quite impressive. He does really good interviews. He doesn't just kind of litter the interview with cliches.
Yeah,
he's quite honest.
Yeah,
he's quite tactful as well. He's saying a few things to the media and the fans to try and keep the positivity. So he's coming across as an intelligent bloke, and for me it feels like a long-term appointment. And hopefully, yeah. But then on the pitch, it's not going so well. And we've only won 3 games, and his time he's been here. He joined us in December. 2 of those wins are in the cup. Obviously, famously last week we beat Stoke, came back from 2-0 down. In the league, it's not going so well. We've drawn a lot of games. We've drawn, I think it's something like 4 or 5 games now under him. And we've only won 1 at home against Coventry, one of his former clubs. So it's not quite happening on the pitch yet, but I went to Blackpool away on Saturday, and it's one of those games where as a fan you're incredibly frustrated because you keep missing chances.
Yeah.
We had 5 or 6 really good chances. Blackpool only had 1 hit the bar. So defensively we were much better, but that gives us some hope. But, is no good. No good playing well and creating chances if you don't score. So fingers crossed. With a couple of some days left in the transfer window, all the Town fans are hoping that we can get someone who's going to score some goals. Obviously, if Dave Edwards plays, he's likely to score a few, but we really, really need to start scoring.
Yeah. So what do you think it is though? I mean, Shrewsbury had a really, really good season last year. Do you think this season they're sort of, or did they overperform last year, or are they underperforming this year? Or do you think that it's changing managers as well?
It's so many things. So you guys obviously you only spent one season down in League One, but for those fans who like to follow League One teams will know that most contracts are 1 or 2 years.
Yeah,
and the squad turnover is huge at this level. Mm-hmm. So from last season, we've only got 2 players in the first team.
Wow.
So we had quite a few players. We had a few players on loan, and then a few players' contracts were ending under Paul Hurst. So we had like Dean Henderson, who's now in goal for Sheffield United. Ben Godfrey, who's playing central defence for Norwich. So we had some like excellent loan players. And also a few players' contracts expired and moved on. So it's a bit of a miss and match. And then Paul Hurst left, and we got a new manager. So yeah, it's funny at this level. It's quite hard to kind of maintain a team and consistency, because every season you kind of go through a big churn of players, and obviously changing manager mid-season, we've had 8 players leave.
Wow.
The squad was quite inflated, and we signed 4 or 5 players already. So yeah, there's a lot of player changes.
I mean, I've seen today, or I believe I've read that you've got Scott Goldborn on trial as well, the ex-Wolves man.
Yeah, he's on. There seems to be a bit of a link with Ricketts and
I was going to say,
players. So I don't know if that's just because he's like it's just a bit of coincidence. These players are available,
of course, yeah.
But then fans get quite critical of that. But it worked really well for Paul Hurst. He signed a guy called Toto Nsiala, who we sold to Ipswich with John Nolan for $1.5 million. He had both of those players before, and they were massive successes. We signed a player called Alex Rodman, who was absolutely superb last season. No one had ever heard of him before, but he was really good. So, I don't know, sometimes January transfers, signing someone who you know, obviously kind of reduces the risk a bit.
Yeah, I mean, especially for a manager like Sam Ricketts, he almost knows what he's getting. He spent a year and a half plus with Scott Goldborn, albeit 3 or 4 years ago, but he's still obviously got an idea of his personality and his qualities as a player and so on. Yeah,
I think he was on trial in a friendly one in a cup regional cup game or something today. But yeah, we signed a couple of players that he has a connections to. So fingers crossed. But yeah, Town fans are not so happy because they're seeing us signing defensive players and more midfielders. We've got a lot of midfielders, but everyone's just desperate for a winger or a striker.
They always want that striker, yeah. So moving on from Shrewsbury, obviously the opponent's Wolves. Premier League is such a big league, so there's always going to be tabs on the news and so on and this. What have you made, as a football fan from sort of the Midlands, what have you made of Wolves' start to the Premier League?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Midlands link. My dad's a Baggies fan.
Oh, right.
I've been to see them 9 times, never seen them lose, so quite a good record there. But I always like to see Midlands teams do well.
Of course,
And it's good to see Wolves up there. I like Wolves, like the way they play football. And it's interesting, there's a really good interview on 5 Live. I don't know if you remember the guy, he's an English director, one of your directors, and he was on 5 Live, I think it was last season, talking about your model and your structure and what you're trying to do. And obviously, as a like, I don't know, it's nice when you have owners who are English and all that kind of stuff, but those days in the Premier League and the Championship are long gone. And it's good to see what Wolves are doing. I think it's nice as well that you've got some youth players coming through. What was the midfielder, White?
Morgan Gibbs-White,
he looks like a really good player. So, and you got some good pros like Doherty. I've got him in my fantasy team. So, it's good to see, and you play some good football, and you're not scared. And some of the games you've had against Spurs and stuff have been good. And it's funny. So, like in terms of reflection, so came back from Blackpool, 5 hours in the car. We didn't score. Watch match of the day to see Jota just putting them away for fun. Kind of made me kind of laugh, but also made me a little bit worried for Saturday.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting because that's another point. I'd assume you're hoping, and I'd assume Shrewsbury are going to be playing sort of a full-strength team on Saturday.
Yeah, you would suspect so. Because we don't want to get spanked, because that could happen. Because you're 8th in the Premier League, but you're obviously going in a certain direction in terms of the calibre of players you're signing. And yeah, I guess there's a question for you. Do you expect... So we'll probably definitely play our first team. One will need the kind of confidence. And we also don't want to get kind of humiliated. But I guess, do you guys think you'll play your first team? Or
see this is an interesting one, because Nuno... I say historically, but obviously this is only his second season in charge. Last season in the Cups, he played a second team for everything. So the Carabao Cup, he played a second team, even with youth players, and we still beat Premier League sides and stuff like that as a Championship team. We ended up getting knocked out by Man City, but we took them all the way to penalties. Even in the FA Cup, he did the same thing against Premier League Swansea. We took them to a replay. Now this year, Carabao Cup, he did start, I'm not saying a weak team, but definitely a rotated team. However, against Liverpool, he played a very strong team in the FA Cup. So my thinking
you're not in a relegation battle, are you?
Exactly, yeah.
You're 10 points clear.
I think the fans are hoping and thinking that this season, because we've already sort of more or less got our Premier League status for next season, we're hoping that he's going to start a team that he thinks will win the game, because it's probably our best chance in many, many years of getting to Wembley and possibly even picking up the FA Cup. So, and no disrespect to Shrewsbury Town, it's a game for Wolves. They should be, on paper, winnable. And obviously, another couple of Premier League clubs are going to get knocked out this weekend, so there's a big chance for Wolves.
And do you think also from a kind of a strategic point of view, winning the FA Cup would be quite good for Wolves in terms of getting your name around? Oh,
of course, yeah.
And also signing players as well.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke about earlier on the sort of director that was on 5 Live. I'd assume part of their plan is that, and obviously we have got Chinese owners, but a lot of the directors and the board are sort of businessmen, and they know this club already inside and out. So they know the long-term project, especially these Chinese guys that are investing so much money. European football, they want that sooner rather than later. And the FA Cup at the moment is probably the easiest way Wolves are going to get that. So
yeah, I've never thought about that angle. Yeah, it's a good one to get to play in Europe.
But I mean, for Shrewsbury, I do hope Dave Edwards gets a run out at least. It'll be great to see him up against Wolves again, and hopefully we'll have a good game. Finally, Ollie, off you. Score prediction. What do you reckon the turnout is going to be on Saturday?
Well, turnout's definitely be a full house. In terms of result, it really depends on your team, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you put out a bit of a weakened side, which would probably be, I'd definitely, if I put in a bet on, it would definitely be a Wolves win.
Okay, yeah.
And I'd be tempted to even put a bet on for Wolves Shrewsbury not to score because of our recent record. But I don't know. I'd say probably maybe like a 3-1 win to Wolves. Maybe you get that third goal later in the game when we're trying to go for it.
So say it as well. Obviously, you guys are struggling in the league. Would you be happy? Well, I'd assume you would be if you took a replay back to Molineux as well, or would you rather, if you're going to lose, just lose Saturday? So
it's really funny you mentioned that, because I put a post on Facebook saying that in some ways, after coming back from Blackpool, and I said in some ways, it would be quite good to get a respectable loss. I got absolutely pelted for it, like utterly pelted, and all sorts of words dropped to me.
I can imagine.
But for me, yeah, we're playing against Wolves at a team that have got massive ambitions, signing players of a high penalty. You're almost the top of that kind of second division already.
Of course,
in the Premier League. So for me, in some ways, getting rid of getting out of the FA Cup could help us. So Shrewsbury Town, I don't know if you guys how well you know, but we went down into conference. In 2004, and that was a season that we beat Everton in the FA Cup quite famously, and we got relegated. So a good FA Cup run sometimes can have a negative impact on your league.
Of course. Yeah.
So what are Wolves fans excited about this game?
Well, yeah, it's probably been it is the most difficult ticket that Wolves fans have tried to have this season. So that, obviously, as you say, it's going to be a sellout. I think Wolves fans are excited. I think with how the season's gone, we're all very, very excited about the football we're playing. And I mean, we've seen some of these big Premier League sides like Man City and Spurs just have no mercy, go full strength against these lower league sides and knock 6 or 7 past them. I'm not saying Wolves are going to do that on Saturday, because I don't think we're the type of team to do that. But I think we are all hoping that we can have an exciting game and do play a full strength team. And again, no disrespect to Shrewsbury, knock a couple of goals past you, but...
what's your prediction?
My prediction, I'll probably see. I've got a feeling Shrewsbury will score, but I think we will knock it. I'll say 3-1 Wolves as well. Yeah, that way.
Might put a bet on that scoreline now we're talking about it.
Now a few of us have said it as well. Guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. How do you reckon this game will go? If you're Shrewsbury fans, let us know. Let us know what your thoughts are on this little FA Cup run. Your thoughts on Dave Edwards and Sam Ricketts as well. If you are new, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you check out Ollie and the Salopcast. Links to those guys are in the description down below. But hopefully you enjoy the game on Saturday and may the best team win, Ollie.
Cool. Cheers, Dave.
Thank you.